Good morning and welcome to the Unitarian Church of Evanston. I'm Robb Geiger, your worship associate this morning. Whether this is your spiritual home or you are newly discovering this community, we're grateful to share this time together. We strive to be an inclusive and welcoming community, seeking truth and love and nurturing the human spirit for a world made whole. We are guided by our principles and values, which remind us in every moment and through every challenge that each of us is worthy of love and that we are all connected through the vast and beautiful web of existence. We come together to remember our kinship with one another and to hold one another in heart and mind with tenderness and careful attention, and to dedicate ourselves more fully to living our shared values. Welcome to those of you who joining us online. We hope you have your chalices ready. People of all ages are a welcome and important part of our faith community, and we are blessed to have the children in the sanctuary for the first half of every service, and the entire service is for all ages about once a month. The nest in the front is our designated area for families with young children, where we have quiet fidget toys and activities and a kid-friendly order of service. Nursery care is available every Sunday in room 11 in the lower level, which you can access via the stairs at the back of the sanctuary. As part of being a welcoming and inclusive community, we have some information posted on the screen that will help orient you to UCE and our service. We have an inductive loop system and other stuff that you can read about. There are no announcements this morning. Check the weekly newsletter to keep informed about the goings-on in the community. And now let us settle in together, gather our attention, and share this time of reflection and celebration and inspiration. As we begin our worship service, let's quiet our electronics and our bodies and join in beloved community. Welcome to worship. The Unitarian Church of Evanston resides on the traditional homelands of the Ojibwe, Odawa, and Potawatomi nations, once used by nomadic tribes who share the Algonquin culture and language. By 1760, Potawatomi villages populated this land. After decades of violent encroachment by the French, British, and then U.S. American white settlers, the Potawatomi community were forcefully removed west of the Mississippi River. We also remember the networks of Black people, African American ancestors, who built our country's culture and economy, originally through forced enslavement and uncompensated labor. We acknowledge the impacts of the intentional violence of enslavement, theft of labor, and exploitation which echo through the generations and remain a reality today. We offer these acknowledgments as one small effort toward building long-term solidarity with contemporary communities. We commit ourselves to incorporate these admissions into our lives and turn our thoughts into actions. Please join in our words of shared commitment. We name these realities with honor for all the ancestors, respect for our descendants, and gratitude for the land we use as sacred space. Blessed is the Fire That Burns Deep in the Soul by Eric A. Heller Wagner. Mary Dudick lights the chalice in gratitude for our congregation and all its good works. She says, "Our actions strengthen my courage to hope in these difficult times." As she lights our chalice, symbol of our living tradition, please join in saying the words on the screen. Blessed is the fire that burns deep in the soul. It is the flame of the human spirit touched into being by the mystery of life. It is the fire of compassion, community, justice, and faith. It is the fire of divine glow in every life. Please rise in body or spirit and join in saying the words of our covenant. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. And before we sing our opening hymn, I invite those joining us online to greet each other in the chat, and those gathered in the sanctuary to turn to one another briefly to say good morning, trying to greet someone who is new to you.
Please stay after the service and continue your conversations. If you are new to UCE, we invite you to stop by the welcome desk at the back, the welcome table, which is covered in a red tablecloth back there, to get more information about our community. Let's keep creating new relationships and building kinship among us. Please remain risen and join in singing. The song is Where Do We Come From? And the painting you're seeing is where the lyrics of the song came from. This painting is by Paul Gauguin, and it asks some very human questions. The three groups of women represent the three questions that are posed in the title of the painting. The women with the child on the left represent the beginning of life. Where do we come from? The middle group represents daily existence. What are we? And the old woman facing death is asking, where are we going? We're going to sing this as round, but first we're going to sing it all together one time, and then we're going to sing it in three groups. So Chester will be, Chester's leading the middle group. Robb is going to lead the group on the left, or my left, so you're right. And then I'm going to lead the group on the right. And so first, again, we're going to sing it together once, and then follow your leader.
Well, good morning, everyone. Maybe this will be a good time to make a public service announcement. The beach day has been postponed due to high waves and storms possible. So save August 10th to join us at the beach, Lighthouse Beach, that is. And now on to more important things. Today's Time for All Ages is from a book called I Am Human, a book of empathy, written by Susan Verde, and artwork by one of my favorites, Peter H. Reynolds. I was born a miracle. One of billions, but unique. I am human. I am always learning. I'm finding my way and choosing my path on this incredible journey. I have big dreams. I see possibility. I have endless curiosity. I make discoveries. I have a feeling of wonder. I am amazed by nature. I have a playful side. I find joy in friendships. I am human. But being human means I am not perfect. I make mistakes. I can hurt others with my words, my actions, and even my silence. I can be hurt too. I can be fearful of things I don't understand yet, and timid to try something new. I have a heavy heart when I feel sadness. I am human. But then I remind myself that because I am human, I can make choices. I can move forward. A poor choice can become a better choice with thoughtfulness. A bad day can become a great day with kindness. I can act with compassion and lend a helping hand. I can treat others with equality and be fair. I can choose not to fight, but instead to listen and find common ground. I can say, I'm sorry, and ask for forgiveness. I am human. One of billions, but unique. I am not alone. I am connected to my friends, to my family, to the world. We are all humans together. And I will keep trying to be the best version of me. I am full of hope. I am human.
Good morning, everyone. For those who don't know me, my name is Emma Farrell. I am your ministerial intern. I like the pronouns they or we, but I will go by any pronoun spoken with respect. I'm going to invite us now into a time of quiet reflection as we share our joys and our sorrows. If you have a joy or a sorrow you would like shared, you can write it in the book at the back of the sanctuary, you can email one of the ministers, or you can fill out the form on our website. We listen to these offerings with tenderness and with respect. I invite us to all quiet our bodies and voices during this sacred time by breathing in together and breathing out. These are the joys and the sorrows that were shared for this week. Gretchen Brewster shares the joy that many of us experienced great joy and heat participating in this year's Evanston's 4th of July parade supporting pro-choice. We hope we'll see more of you at the event next year. Patrick Thornton shares the joy his daughter Cora was married last weekend. Congratulations. Stephen B. shares a joy which is close to my heart. He says, my postdoc union recently filed with the National Labor Relations Board to kickstart the process for a union election. Solidarity forever. Yes. Yes. Amen. We also have a joy from Chris Yu. She shares, Jamie and I celebrated our 25th wedding anniversary this week. Yeah. She says, 25 years of change, growth, and love. What will the next 25 bring? Peggy Bachard, apologies if I'm pronouncing it wrong, she shared in the chat this morning that she has the joy that she was not admitted to the hospital but discharged around midnight. However, she has to go to the wound clinic to discuss specialized treatment. She also shares a sorrow about a family member with a newly diagnosed serious illness, and she asks that we keep her and her family in our prayers. Sharing these concerns of the heart is part of the practice of beloved community. Together we expand our celebrations and we lessen the burden of grief. You are invited to light a candle and drop a stone into the well of tears at one of the 3 stations located at the front and the sides of the sanctuary. As we do this with love, when you light candles, please start from the center and move out to the edges to make room for all the candles in the sand. We invite you to come forward now or at any time during the service, and if you'd like a candle brought to you, please raise your hand. For these joys we give our thanks. For these sorrows we give our love. Please join with me in the spirit of prayer and meditation. Great mystery of life and love, the spark of life within us and in all living things, in our expanding and unfolding interconnected universe, of which we are a small but divine part. We come together to witness one another, and may we see each other clearly through the lenses of love and curiosity. May what we see deepen our own humility and our humanity. May it call us into sacred relationship with one another, and may it remind us of the meaning we wish to make in our lives. May we make room for grace and for change, and may we deepen our desire to show up for one another in humility and in love. May we build a world we wish to see together. Ashe and Amen. As we sing number 413, Go Now in Peace, our young people, you know what, wrong part, sorry. We're gonna sing Go Now in Peace. Feel free to name the holy as you are moved. And yes, okay, our young people, preschool through 8th grade, are invited to head to their faith formation with their adult leaders.
As we say in our covenant each Sunday, service is our law. UCE is called by our mission, values, and principles to contribute to our community, to form accountable partnerships, and to express gratitude through giving. Today's offering will be shared with Open Communities, which works to eradicate housing discrimination and unjust practices that perpetuate segregation and inequity. You may text to give, mail in a check, put cash in the collection bowls, or give from our website. If you write a check, please indicate in the memo line if your check is for the shared offering or some other giving. The ushers will now come forward to pass the collection bowls down the rows. Please give as generously as you are able, and may what you give bring you joy. The read this morning comes from Dr. Fei-Fei Li, Stanford professor and pioneer in human-centered AI. The real existential challenge is to live up to our fullest potential, along with living up to our intense sense of responsibility, and to be honest to ourselves about what we want. When we build machines that mimic human capabilities, we must ensure technology never threatens our dignity or worth. Attention, care, creativity, these aren't just byproducts of being human. They are what make us profoundly human. As AI grows more capable, our task is not to become more machine-like, but to become more fully human.
And you may find yourself living in a shotgun shack. And you may find yourself in another part of the world. And you may find yourself behind the wheel of a large automobile. And you may find yourself in a beautiful house with a beautiful wife. And you may ask yourself, well, how did I get here? Letting the days go by, let the water hold me down. Letting the days go by, water flowing underground into the blue again. After the money's gone, once in a lifetime, water flowing underground. And you may ask yourself, how do I work this? And you may ask yourself, where is that large automobile? And you may tell yourself, this is not my beautiful house. And you may tell yourself, this is not my beautiful wife. Letting the days go by, let the water hold me down. Letting the days go by, water flowing underground into the blue again. After the money's gone, once in a lifetime, water flowing underground. Same as it ever was, 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 same as it ever was. Letting the days go by, let the water hold me down. Letting the days go by, water flowing underground into the blue again. After the money's gone, once in a lifetime, water flowing underground. And you may ask yourself, what is this beautiful house? And you may ask yourself, where does that highway go to? And you may ask yourself, am I right? Am I wrong? And you may say to yourself, my God, what have I done? Letting the days go by, let the water hold me down. Letting the days go by, water flowing underground into the blue again. After the money's gone, once in a lifetime, water flowing underground. Same as it ever was. Same as it ever was, 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 same as it ever was. Letting the days go by, letting the days go by, once in a lifetime, letting the days go by.
Nailed it. Awesome. Thank you. All right, so we're continuing our journey on exploring artificial intelligence. This is our second sermon in the series. I've read a few books, several articles and videos over the last few months, And I have to say, I still don't quite know exactly how to feel about it. Some days I think maybe this is the next industrial revolution. Some days I think maybe we've invented a God made of math and panic. As I've said before, I'm not here as any kind of expert. I'm here to journey alongside you as we explore together. So full disclosure, I asked an AI chatbot to help me brainstorm ideas about this sermon. It came up with a 3-part service. Oh man, maybe I should have asked the AI chatbot to do more. But I asked it, and it came up with a 3-part series for this service, and it included various scriptures. And I said, well, we're Unitarian Universalists. We don't really do scripture usually. We do sources, and we don't really do like answers. We do more questions. Nice try, robot. So the sermon this morning is not really about like moral certainty or tech doom. It's about our continued exploration together. It's about wonder and staying human, staying tender and relational and present and awake in a world that's moving fast. As many of you know, generative AI, it doesn't create from scratch. It's trained on our data, scraped from the internet. Billions of pieces of writing and art and music, all created by humans. And this information is not always scraped with consent. In fact, it's usually not scraped with consent. Ask any artist. They have feelings about their work being used without their consent in this way. And like a baby learning about the world, AI doesn't know what's helpful or harmful, what's true, what's wrong. It doesn't know what's beautiful, what's biased. It just takes it all in. And when it generates something, it's reflecting us back to ourselves. Brilliant and broken, wise and shallow, biased and beautiful. All of it at once. So I think if there's a soul in the machine, it's a reflection of us. AI is a mirror, and like all mirrors, it can show us things that we'd rather not see. It can reflect our creativity, our poetry, our art, our music, but it also reflects our prejudices, our pain, and our maladaptive coping strategies. It reflects our humanness, but it's not human. And as with any mirror, it matters how it's built. It matters who built it, how it was polished and calibrated, how it reflects, and what it leaves out. So let's pause here for a moment, and I want to invite you in with me. I would love, if you feel so called, to just name something out loud that makes us human. Maybe it's laughter, maybe it's empathy. What have you got? Curiosity, cooperation, prejudice, tears, music, consciousness, hugs, empathy, fear, gratitude, chores, curiosity, context, so many things. Yes, we could keep going. Thank you for engaging. And many things I kind of heard but didn't quite catch. Crying, comforting, all of it. These are things that no machine can replicate, right? These things I think of as holy and sacred. And I think staying human is our sacred task. So just like a mirror reflects an image but not the fullness of the human that it's reflecting, AI reflects our language but not our empathy, our fears, our meaning making, all of these things. And it's not a neutral mirror. It doesn't just reflect the optical wavelengths. It's built by people, and these people have agendas. These agendas may be different from ours, and its code, its training, and its data are shaped by human choices. I want to lift up the work of Dr. Timnit Gebru. She's a leading voice in AI ethics, and she used to work at Google. She co-authored a paper that exposed the bias. It exposed how large language models can reinforce racism and sexism and environmental harm. And for raising these concerns, she was pushed out of her job. She later founded the Distributed AI Research Institute, a space for values-rooted AI research free from the influence of big tech. One of the things she said is, there's no such thing as a neutral data set. AI doesn't just reflect our human brilliance, it reflects our bias, our blind spots, our culture, our systems of power, our ways of thinking. And I also want to lift up the voice of Dr. Fei Li, who we heard from in the reading this morning. She's a computer science professor at Stanford, and she is a pioneer of what she calls human-centered AI. She reminds us that how we build technology matters just as much as what we build. And this is a lesson that is in my very body from my time in academia. It was an insight for me that I learned along the way, and I think it speaks to many of us that how we do things matters just as much, or maybe more, than what we do. Because it's not just the outcomes that matter, it's not a state function, it's the process. It's the relationships and the values we bring to the work. Dr. Lee writes, attention, care, creativity, these aren't just byproducts of being human, they are what make us profoundly human. And as AI grows more capable, our task is not to become more machine-like, but to become more fully human. And I fully agree with Dr. Lee. One thing I appreciate about her vision is that it does not ask us to choose between technology and humanity. We can stay awake and rooted in dignity and empathy and still engage with technology. We don't have to reject it outright as we shape our future together. It also reminds me that we don't discover who we are in isolation. We learn about who we are in relationship to other people. And so I know myself as nurturing when I see myself taking care of my children and how they respond to that. I also sometimes know myself as the worst mom in the world when I set a boundary, But I understand that mirror. I know how it's calibrated, and so I can take that data in with that understanding. So with AI, I think it's important to ask, who built the mirror? What values are baked in, and what are its motives? Or as Dr. Gebru said, the question is not just, what does this model do? The question is, what kind of world does this model create? Right now, a handful of very powerful companies are shaping these tools, and their motives are not justice or care or humanity. Their motives are profit and control and speed and growth. And these tools, they aren't just reflecting us, they're shaping us because we are in relationship with them too. They are insidiously in our lives in so many different ways, whether we know it or not. So it's shaping, AI is shaping, as we relate to it, how we speak, how we think. And we're not just users, we're the products too, right? In the age of surveillance capitalism, our attention is what's being bought and sold. Now, I don't think that's inherently evil, but I do think it reflects the deeper logic of capitalism that often exploits attention, creativity, and care for profit. So what does it mean to stay human when the world keeps asking us to keep up, to optimize, to produce, to perform, to engage in these models that were written in ways that we may or may not stand behind? What does it mean? What does it look like to stay human in this changing world? I came across some fascinating data in my research. There's a Harvard Business Review article from this April that showed that people are increasingly using generative AI, not for work purposes, but for emotional support, for therapy, for meaning making, for life coaching. The top 3 things that generative AI are being used for in 2025 are emotional support related. Whew, I just got chills. I mean, there's great need out there. The way that our systems are built up, the way that our lives are set up, are so isolating from each other. In 2023, I mentioned in a sermon, maybe in December, that in 2023, the U.S. Surgeon General put out a bulletin about the epidemic of loneliness in this country and all of the related health effects of it. There's a shift where people are turning to AI to fill that gap. It makes me think, what if our call right now, what if our sacred work of staying human looks a lot more like connecting, slowing down, and being present with each other? It sounds simple, but like I said, our lives aren't usually set up for that. Honestly, I forget to be human all the time. I so often treat my life like a to-do list, and I scroll past my exhaustion, and I'm answering a text while cooking dinner, microwaving my food, and like half listening to someone that I love. And maybe you've been there too. But something always pulls me back, a child's question, or a song that comes on, or a text from a loved one. Okay, usually it's a child. That's what they do, right? Bless them. So in these moments, I remember my own humanity, embodied, messy, tender, and growing. And so then I wonder, are there ways that AI could actually amplify our humanity? I don't know. It's a tool. It's here. Are there ways we can use it? I hope we explore together. But I imagine, what if it could help with some of the administrative burdens, like scheduling and organizing and analyzing the data, all curated with human eyes, so that we could be more available for connection and for creativity. Like a microscope or a telescope, AI lets us see things at scale, but it can't tell us what they mean. That's still our work, the work of being human, the work of interpretation and wisdom. I don't trust the motives of the corporations that are designing these software, but I do have hope in how we might choose to use what they've made. I do see real promise in applications like healthcare, education, accessibility, so many different things. I teach, and now I also design classes at Arizona State University, and AI is an integrated part of the curriculum now. They have encouraged us course designers to help train the future graduates because they need to be fluent in this technology. And so I use AI as I design my class, cautiously, curiously, and in conversation with another human, an instructional design specialist. Ignoring AI is just not an option anymore. But how we engage, that's still ours to decide. So I'm going to offer 2 small invitations. This week, I invite you to just notice one moment when you come back to your own humanity. Maybe it's through laughter, or eye contact, or stillness, something that reminds you of who you are, who you want to be in the world. And then the second invitation, I hope you still keep showing up in spaces like these with other human beings, where we can stay connected and in conversation. And just as a plug, I hope you'll come to the AI Town Hall that I plan to host in about a month, and to the workshop series that will start in September about AI. This discernment work belongs to all of us, and we're doing it together. AI might mirror us, but it can't mourn with us. It can't laugh at a joke that flops but makes you laugh anyway because it was delivered with heart. It can't sit beside us in silence when there are no words. That work, the soul work, is still ours, and we need it, because how we do things matters. So again I say, staying human is our sacred task. I can't tell you what that looks like, but I hope you are thinking about it for yourself. What does that mean? Times are urgent, so let us slow down. In a world that moves fast, may we move with care. In a world of noise, may we listen deeply. In a world of algorithms, may we choose empathy and presence. Let's hold each other with courage, curiosity, and care in this strange and sacred world we're making. Ashe and Amen.
As we extinguish the chalice, please join in saying the words on the screen by the Reverend Elizabeth Sell Jones. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Please rise in body or spirit and join in singing our closing hymn, number 1028, The Fire of Commitment.
Into faces
leave this sacred hour, may we remember we do not walk this changing world alone. In the midst of rapid change, may we stay tender in a world that numbs, curious in a world that hurries, present in a world that distracts. Let us listen to one another with care, make space for questions without easy answers, and trust that our humanity, imperfect and beautiful, is still enough. May we go forth rooted in what matters: relationship, meaning, and the sacred work of love. Go in peace, go in love.